Hello, we're on lesson 78, page 155, solve problems about liquid and volume and mass. So today we're going to be doing some word problems, and before we start, I just wanted to review some common language that we hear in our word problems. So when we see words like all together or total in our word problems, we should think about adding. When you hear words about less and left, you should think about subtracting. When you hear the word each, you have to be careful. Sometimes that means to multiply, but it also could be dividing, because we know that multiplication and division are inverse or the opposite operations. Words like equal, groups, and times usually mean to multiply. But our strategy we always use is thinking, is the number getting bigger or smaller? If it's getting bigger, then we know we want to add and multiply. If the number is getting smaller, we want to subtract or divide. So we're going to be using all of these operations today, and we should look out for some of these keywords to help us to figure out which is the correct operation to solve our word problem. So, let's look at our first example here. You can use a model or write an equation to solve problems about liquid volume and mass. Tina's watering can holds 4 liters of water. Todd's watering can holds 6 liters of water. What is the total liquid volume of both watering cans? So immediately I see that word total. And when I think of total, I think of bringing things together. My number should be getting bigger. So I'm thinking about what operation I can use that will make my number bigger. The watering can for Tina has 4 liters. The watering can for Todd has 6 liters. They want the total. So if I'm thinking total, here is their model. They have 4 liters and 6 liters. It's their tape diagram here, their bar model. So for the 4 box and the 6 box is filled in. And we know if those two are filled in, we're looking for the total on the outside. So write an equation. Think I can write an addition equation to find the sum of the liquid volumes because they saw that total word. 4 plus 6 equals 10. So the total liquid volume is 10 liters. Okay. Kira has a small bucket that holds 3 liters of water and a large bucket that holds 5 liters of water. All together, how many liters of water do the 2 buckets hold? So we're thinking about this word here, all together. Okay? And if everybody in your house is all together in the room, you have more people in there than if it's just you in there by yourself. So all together is a key word for addition. Okay, so they had 3 liters of water and 5 liters of water. And again, we said all together means to add. 3 plus 5 would give us 8. And I think this giant line here is for label. And when we're talking about water, we're talking about liquid. We measure liquid in liters. When you write L for liters, it should be capitalized. Rick's recipe calls for 25 grams of raisins and 40 grams of nuts. How many more grams of nuts than raisins does the recipe call for? This is another one. How many more? Okay, so if one person has more than another person, and you're trying to find out how many more that person has, we're not totaling it, we're not putting it all together. Our number should get smaller. There are more nuts than there are raisins. We want to know how many more. Therefore, we are going to subtract. Now, when we subtract, we take our big number, we put it first. And our second number would be the smaller one. And we're going to subtract. Mrs. Doria does not like to subtract this way, so we're going to stack underneath. Okay, we have 40 minus 25. We go over to the 4, that becomes a 3. My 0 becomes a 10. 10 minus 5 gives me 5. 3 minus 2 gives me 1. So my total here is 15. And let's take a look here. We're talking about our label as grams. So G for grams. So there are 15 more grams of nuts than raisins. Okay. Moving on to our next page, page 156. Now, they set up the first one for us, but they didn't do the work. And I'm going to tell you, even before we start to read anything, I'm going to ask you to rewrite this. And here's a nice area that we can use. Our directions say, write an equation and solve the problem. Luis was served 145 grams of meat and 217 grams of vegetables at a meal. What was the total mass of the meat and vegetables? So I see that word total here. And I'm thinking I'm bringing together the meat and the vegetables. So we're going to add. Our numbers getting bigger. Now, I don't like that, so we can stack. You know me, I always like to put my big number on top, but when we add, it doesn't matter which number goes first. Okay, over here I have 7 plus 5 gives me 12. I put down the 2 and carry my 1. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2 plus 4 gives me 6. Over here I have 2 plus 1, and that gives me 3. So, Luis has 362 grams of food, the meat and the vegetables together. A gas tank of a riding mower holds 5 liters of gas. How many 5-liter gas tanks can you fill from a full 20-liter gas can? So, I have my gas can. It holds 20 liters. Okay? I want to put 5 over here, 5 over here, 5 over here, 5 over here. How many times can I get to that 5? Well, let's think about skip counting as a strategy. So here's one 5-liter, and I'm going to add another 5-liter. So far I have 10 liters. Add another 5, 5, 10, 15. So far I have 3 5s, but I'm not up to my 20. I can also add another 5 and see if that gets us there. 5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, how many 5s do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one way of looking at it. Now they want us to write an equation here. So when we skip count, it's really like multiplying here. It's really like saying 5 times 4 equals 20. Okay? But here it says, how many 5-liter gas tanks can you fill from a full 20 gas liter can? Now, thinking about how multiplication is the inverse or opposite of division. When we divide, the big number goes, you should have said first. Now I'm dividing by how many liters are in each can, which is 5. And what times 5 equals 20? 4. So it can give us here, it says how many 5-liter gas tanks can you, we would say 4 gas cans. I should actually say 4-liter gas cans. Okay, so let's review what we did here. One strategy is to skip count. Another is if you know your facts. And then if you know your facts, turning that into a division problem to help you find your answer of 4. Okay? If we were at school and there wasn't this nice line here, any of these would have been fine as long as your understanding was that the 4 would be your answer. To make a lemon lime drink, Mac mixed 4 liters of lemonade with 2 liters of limeade. How much lemon lime drink did Mac make? Okay, so if we take a look here, he mixed them or he combined them together. If you're bringing things together, you're getting more than you started with. Our number's getting bigger. So here, we're combining 2 things together. So we have 4 plus 2 is going to give us 6 liters of his lemon lime drink. A nickel has a mass of 5 grams. There are 40 nickels in a roll of nickels. What is the mass of the roll of a nickel? So, when we get here, each of our nickels is 5 grams. There are 40 nickels all together. So, here, if we have 40 nickels, and each one is 5 grams, we have 5 grams for 1 nickel, 2 nickels, 3 nickels, 4 nickels, 5 nickels. But instead of doing it that way, a quick way to do our skip counting like we did up here would be, if you said multiply, you are correct. Now, we practice this in school. Cover up the 0. What is our fast fact? 4 times 5. Now, I uncover the 0 and I add it. Where am I adding it? If you said after the 20, you are correct. So, that would be 200 grams. 4 families share a basket of 16 kilograms of apples equally. How many kilograms of apples does each family get? So the total amount is 16. The number's not getting bigger than that. And there are 4 families. They're sharing them. So they're giving out the apples. So I'm going to give you 2 strategies. One, we could have 4 circles for 4 families. And you can give out the apples. Going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and so on until you get to 16. Another strategy is to think about how each one of these groups means 1 family. And if 16 is our biggest number, we could also divide by 4 to get our answer. I'm going to let you pick your strategy that you like better. You could use your picture and continue to hand them out. Whatever is in 1 circle will be what you place on this line here. Or you could think about 4 times something equals 16. Whatever that something is going right there. Don't forget your label. For a party, Julian made 12 liters of fruit punch. There were 3 liters of fruit punch left after the party. How much fruit punch did people drink at the party? Think about left. So if people are drinking it, you're not going to wind up with more fruit punch. You're going to wind up with less fruit punch. I want you to try to figure out here. Are we subtracting to make our number smaller, or are we dividing? Are we dividing it into equal groups, or we're just taking some of it away and subtracting? Problem solving number 7. Zoe's fish tank holds 27 liters of water. She uses a 3-liter container to fill the tank. How many times does she have to fill the 3-liter container in order to fill her fish tank? So this is where this times here either means to multiply or divide. You can set up your problem either using multiplication or division to get the correct answer here. Think, if you are multiplying, think about get. Okay, with get, the big number goes here. So one of these two has to come from the question, and then the other one is the answer. If you are dividing, when we divide, the big number goes, I hope you said first. Again, we're finding a number from the problem. This time, this number here should be your answer. Last question. Adrian's backpack has a mass of 15 kilograms. Teresa's backpack has a mass of 8 kilograms. What is the total mass of both backpacks? Okay, so think about, are we combining the numbers and bringing them together to get the total? Because we want both. Solve that for me. So for homework, you're doing 4 problems. 5, 6, 7, and 8. I will set up a Google Doc, or you can send me a picture. And it was so fantastic seeing most of you today at the group meeting. I think I saw everyone. It's really made my day, even though it was kind of a little yucky outside. You guys were my sunshine.